Welcome. Thanks for joining us this morning for this special event. We're really excited to share some great news with you about the iPhone software roadmap. We've been working really hard on this, and we've got some really cool stuff to announce. So let's get on with it. Before we get into the details, I just want to share a few statistics about how far we've come with the iPhone in just the first 8 months since we started shipping it. If you look at the US smartphone market, in just 8 months, the iPhone has garnered a 28% market share, second only to RIM, and dramatically ahead of third, fourth, and all the others. So we're pretty excited about this. This is fourth calendar quarter data here. So that's the first thing. The second thing, though, is, as you know, the iPhone is really bringing the internet to a mobile device for the first time. You really do have the internet in your pocket. And that's being borne out by the usage statistics for US mobile browser usage. Look at this. iPhone, 71% of the US mobile browser usage. Because for the first time, you really do have the internet in your pocket. So these are very exciting statistics. And so let's get on with what we have to talk about today in terms of the iPhone software roadmap. Now, I've asked two of my colleagues to do the heavy lifting today. Phil Schiller, our Senior Vice President of Worldwide Product Marketing, and Scott Forstall, our Vice President of iPhone Software. And the first thing we're going to talk about is iPhone in the enterprise. And for that, I'm going to hand it over to Phil.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
Good morning, everyone. I am really excited to be the one to talk to you about iPhone in the enterprise. From the beginning of launching iPhone, which is not so long ago, we've had some great customers right at the forefront wanting to work with us to adopt the iPhone into their enterprise environments. For example, Genentech. As you know, Genentech is the world's leading biotech company. We have a great relationship with Genentech. Their CEO, Art Levinson, is a great board member for Apple. So we do a lot of wonderful things together. And right now at Genentech, they have thousands of iPhones deployed across multiple organizations, from sales to R&D. And to get a sense for what does the iPhone mean inside Genentech, the quote here from Todd Pierce, VP of Corporate Information Technology: "The iPhone is a watershed event in mobile computing for corporations." Wow, that's incredible. I mean, they are an amazing company with thousands of iPhones. And it's not just businesses. We also have great enterprises in the incredible universities we work with. We have a great number of large customers that have huge networks. In fact, one of the leading universities in the world is right in our backyard, Stanford University. Been working with them as well. Right now at Stanford, they have hundreds of iPhones deployed across faculty and staff. In the words of their CIO, Bill Klepsch, the iPhone has worked effortlessly at Stanford, and the user acceptance just astounded us. We've been inundated with orders. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. I think you can guess why that might be. And the iPhone is an amazing device with a breakthrough user interface. With just your finger, you can surf the web, check your email, manage your contacts, contact friends. It's an incredible device for enterprises. But there are a lot of things that enterprise customers, these and others, have told us are the things holding it back from really being huge in the enterprise. So we've been hard at work listening to them, compiling lists, trying to understand what do they really want to take the iPhone way out into giant numbers across enterprises. And what is that? Well, first and foremost, great email integration. Enterprise customers want the iPhone to integrate and get push email directly from their email servers. Huge request. Just as big, they want great calendar integration. They want to be able to get their calendar items pushed to them wherever they are, over the air, all day long. They also want to get access to their contacts and have it pushed back and forth with their servers. Then we get to their corporate contact list through global address lists. They want to build in additional VPN types, and most often requested is Cisco IPsec VPN, built right into the iPhone. They want two-factor authentication with certificates and identities. They want enterprise-class Wi-Fi with WPA2 Enterprise and 802.1x. They want to be able to have tools to help them enforce security policies, like mandating the use of PINs on the iPhone. They want tools to help them configure thousands of devices as they deploy iPhones across their enterprise, to set up all those mail and calendar services, to set up those VPN and security policies, all simply automated. And in the unlikely event it's lost or stolen, they want the ability to protect that data, be able to remotely wipe it. That's the long list of important features that enterprise customers have told us that if we just did these things, would really help the adoption be huge in the enterprise. Well, I'm really excited to be the one to tell you today that we're doing all of these things in the next release of the iPhone software. Yeah. Now, they don't just say, hey, I'd like push email and push calendaring. They're much more specific than that, right? What our customers have asked us, in large part, to do is to build in Microsoft's Exchange support right into the iPhone. So I'm also excited to be the one to tell you today that we are working with Microsoft, and we have licensed the ActiveSync protocol to build directly into the iPhone, so the iPhone can work directly with corporate Exchange servers. And that is a huge request of our customers, to be able to deploy iPhones in very large numbers across all these enterprises. So how does that work? Well, to help explain it, I find it useful to understand the old way before we look at the new way. So there is an older way to do things that some have made to work, using older generation smartphone devices. If you ever see any of these around, they do get push email and contacts and calendaring. And you think they come from the servers in the environment, but they don't actually work that way. They first come, for example, to your device from a network operations center that is outside your firewall. It's even outside the country for most people. And that has to get its information from something that's inside your firewall that you have to set up, that's a proprietary messaging server, and that's where it comes from. And of course, that gets its data from your Exchange server. So you actually see that what's been built up is a complex scenario that actually takes some money to support and maintain and build and license. And of course, it adds risk to reliability, as we've seen from time to time. Well, that's the old way. Microsoft has really come up with an architecture that's much more advanced and the kind of things enterprises want to build in. They've built in a way with ActiveSync, the ActiveSync protocol, where the iPhone can now work directly with the Exchange server to get you all the important corporate information. And information directly from the Exchange server. And we're building that all into every iPhone. So this is a great way to solve all those requests for the best solution for Exchange support in a phone. And that's what it means to have Microsoft Exchange built into the iPhone. What I'd like to do is be the first to show it to you. So over here I have an iPhone. And I'm going to wake it up. And as you see, it's cabled so that you can see up on this display the very same thing I'm seeing on my iPhone. Let's turn it on. Now, you might imagine that I'm an employee in a large enterprise, and I've been given an iPhone to use as my key business tool. And let's go in and see what's been set up for me. Well, go into Contacts, and this hasn't been set up yet. There's no contacts in here for me. Let's go into my calendar. And here's today. List of no events. I kind of like that. I get my day free. go into email. Not only do I not have email, my account is not even set up yet and activated on this phone. Now, you know the iPhone has amazing email support for a lot of different services, but as you look at the screen, you'll see we've added one right there at the top, Microsoft Exchange. So there's tools for an enterprise to automatically configure phones, and there's also easy ways for an individual to just tap and follow a few steps and set up their phone for Exchange support. I'm going to skip that step for this demo to get through it quickly for you. But let me go into settings. I've set up an account on this phone. I just haven't turned it on yet. Let's go into my mail settings. And here you see under my accounts, there it is. I've built in an Exchange account for me to talk to our Exchange server. I'm going to tap on that and turn to its settings. And this is really great because in a glance you see what it's able to do. So yes, I want to use ActiveSync for my contacts, so I'm going to turn it on, and now I'm going to get push contact support. And yes, I want to get my calendars from the server as well, so I turn that on and same will happen. And yes, I want to turn on mail, so I get mail pushed over the air to my phone. And that's it. I've set up my iPhone account, and now I'm going to go home to the home screen, and let's first go into my phone application, and there are all my contacts now. These have been read and pushed directly from the Exchange server to this phone over the air, and they're all in here now. And for example, I can just go into Bob's, and there's his information. It's been all brought completely down from the Exchange server onto my phone. Let me go into my calendar, and you'll see I have things to do today now. There's my calendar all being read, pushed over from Exchange. And last, we'll go into mail. And sure enough, here's all my mail, all brought in. Again, it's the same applications customers know and love on the iPhone, the beautiful rich email experience and attachments, but now it's coming from Exchange to the iPhone. So now you see it's hooked up, it's working, it's set everything up and got it from the server. The next thing I want to do is show you a little bit what it's like to actually use this in a push environment and how powerful that is. To do that, I've asked Bob Borchers, who's on the iPhone product marketing team, to help me out. Bob's here in the audience. He's got a notebook. He's wirelessly connected over Wi-Fi also to the Exchange server with his account. And together we're going to be able to do a couple quick things to get you a feel for it. So let's go back into the phone application. So imagine I'm out on a business trip and I meet a new contact. So I'm going to hit the plus sign to create a new contact card here. Let me just type in a name. Alan Banks. For those of you who have never used typing on an iPhone and wondered how it is, it's awesome. Let me save that. So now I've just created a new contact, Alan Banks. And back on the Exchange server, working with his computer, Bob, do you see it?
I got it.
So take a word for it. It worked. Right. No. But in case you don't believe me, let's do the reverse. So I'm busy, and Bob has gotten a phone number for that contact. So Bob, if you can add a phone number to that Exchange record and let me know when you've sent it.
It's on its way.
While I'm thinking I got time to kill, actually a meeting gets moved, and it's going to move up in the calendar. So Bob, if you can move a meeting up for me. And the Exchange server now knows that, and it's going to push it to me as a member of that meeting. I can even tap on that meeting and go into it, see the attendees in that meeting. I can even select an attendee and go and see their names and go in and call one of them if I want to know anything about the meeting. So all that's happening live, pushed right now from Exchange, an Exchange server. The last, and I think the most fun part of this demo, so I'm out and about on my business trip, and I call back to the ID department. Hey, Bob, I think I left my phone when I was out at dinner last night. I don't know where it is. I'm probably not going to get it back. Can you do me a favor and kill it? Because I have a lot of important information on that. So Bob, if you can please use Exchange server to remotely wipe this phone. And Bob's done that. I get no user interaction. I can't stop it. And the phone's been wiped and protected. So Thank you. So we have a lot of great new features, but you've just seen Exchange live working on an iPhone for the first time, and I think enterprise customers are going to be pretty excited. We've been working hard on this. Our teams have worked hard, and we've tested here. But as you know, enterprises are very complex environments, all different environments around the world. And so we've started to go out now and bring these new features into some enterprise network environments to test on site and see how it does. One company we've worked with, Nike, we have a great relationship with Nike and done many great projects with them. And they were kind enough to let us come on their site and start to test the iPhone in their enterprise environment with Exchange. And here's what they have to say about that test. Roland Panacker, their CIO, has said with support for Exchange ActiveSync in this new iPhone release, Apple's offering a plug-and-play enterprise solution. So they're seeing it working now, starting to work with our test on their site. It's real and it's exciting. And one other company we've taken on site and been working with them to see how it works in their environment is Disney. As you might know, we have an executive relationship with Disney, and we do a lot of great things together. They're a wonderful customer. And here's what they have to say about the iPhone and its features. Randy Brooks, SVP of IT at Disney, Apple's really done their homework addressing issues of security, manageability, and integration. We currently have hundreds of iPhone users and expect the demand to grow significantly with this release. And that's awesome. That's awesome. We love working with these customers, and we're both excited about what we have to offer. Because this is the feature set I showed you earlier. These are the features customers have asked for in enterprises to make the iPhone a big hit across companies and universities across this country and around the world. And I think when we release all of these features, people are going to be blown away that the iPhone is the best mobile device ever in the enterprise. It's a killer device already for all of us with these breakthrough software features, and now it's addressing the needs of the enterprise as well with this next release. So that's our news today on the enterprise. Next up, I'd like to invite up Scott Forstall, who's going to talk to you about the iPhone SDK. Scott.
Okay, so I'm here to tell you about how developers can build great applications for the iPhone. Now, before I get into the native iPhone SDK, I want to give an update on web apps. Last June, when we launched the iPhone, we also launched web applications as a way for developers to build applications using web technologies for the iPhone. This has been incredibly successful. There are already well over 1,000 web applications available for the iPhone. Now, over these last 8 months, we've continued to make these web applications even better. In fact, just a couple months ago, we added the ability to take icons and place them directly on the home screen of an iPhone. So you can just tap on an icon and launch right into the web application. Now, as I said, there's a lot of really great web applications. I'm going to highlight just a couple today, starting with Facebook. Facebook has built a really great web application. It's dynamic, it's interactive, it really takes advantage of our large touchscreen, and this is absolutely the best way to take Facebook with you wherever you go. Next is Bank of America. Bank of America is the largest bank in the United States. They're also the industry leader in mobile banking. And Bank of America built this really nice is the native iPhone SDK. Starting today, we are opening up the same native APIs and tools that we use internally to build all our iPhone applications. This means that third-party developers can build native iPhone applications using the same SDK that we do. Now, there are a lot of pieces that make up an SDK. But the most important piece is the set of APIs. It's the platform. Well, that suits us well, because Apple is a platform company. We have the most advanced platform in the world in the form of macOS 10. And macOS 10 is comprised of 4 architectural layers. We start with the Core OS, then we have Core Services, a media layer, and Cocoa. There are a lot of different pieces that make up Core Services, so I'm just going to highlight a few. We'll start with the address book. We have a complete set of APIs for your application to talk directly to the contacts database on the iPhone. We also have included an entire database API with SQLite. Core Location. You've probably seen on an iPhone where you can tap a button on the Maps application, and it'll use cell tower information and Wi-Fi hotspots to triangulate and find exactly where you are. Well, we've taken all of that and packaged it into an API so you can use it to create location-aware applications. So that is Core Services. Media. The media layer is everything you'd expect from Apple. After all, the iPhone is a great iPod, right? It has all the audio and video capabilities you'd expect, starting with Core Audio. Core Audio is our low-level API that we use on macOS 10, on top of which we build everything from our consumer applications all the way up to our professional audio applications. And that also forms our low-level API for audio on iPhone. On top of Core Audio, we've built OpenAL. OpenAL is an industry-standard audio API that is used to efficiently render multi-channel, three-dimensional positional audio. Right? This is great for game developers. It allows them to take and render sounds and special effects in 3 dimensions around a player in a game. So OpenAL built right in. video playback. We have a really seamless video playback system here. It uses our H.264 codec. It's high quality, built right in. Core animation. Core animation is a powerful set of APIs that allows the developer to easily create layered animations. Now, we introduced this publicly first for Leopard, but we built it in many ways for the iPhone. And in fact, almost every This handles everything from a single finger touch to multi-finger to gestures. On top of this event system, we built our multi-touch controls. So our controls know all about the multi-touch nature of the iPhone. The accelerometer. You probably know we have an accelerometer built in. We use it for things like in Safari when we go from portrait to landscape mode. But what you might not know is it's a full 3-axis sensor, and you can use it in your applications as well. Web view. We took the engine of Safari and turned it into a control, which you can embed in your application. And if you want to get images in your application, you can use the image picker to choose directly from the library of all the photos on an iPhone, or you can use the camera to take a new photo. So that is Cocoa Touch. In fact, this is the architecture of the iPhone OS. It is the most advanced platform out there for mobile devices. In fact, we think we're years ahead of any other platform for a mobile device. It is fantastic. We borrowed heavily from macOS 10, so we started on the shoulders of a giant, and we made it even better. So not only do we have a great set of frameworks and APIs, but we have a comprehensive set of tools to help developers quickly build, debug, and optimize their applications. Let's start with Xcode. Xcode is our development environment. This is the tool we use to build all of our applications and operating system for macOS 10. We started there, and then we enhanced it to support the iPhone. And now, we use Xcode to build all of our applications and operating system for the iPhone. So what is Xcode? Well, it starts as a great source editor. This is where you write all of your code. And the great thing is, Xcode knows all about the iPhone SDK. It knows all about all of our APIs. So as you're writing your application, it'll code complete to the APIs in the SDK. Project management. It deals with your project for you. It manages your source files, your header files, your resources, your images, your build settings, everything. It also integrates in with your source control management system. So be it Subversion or Perforce or CVS, it integrates directly in with your source code control management system. And you can check files in and out. You can merge files. You can create new branches. You do everything you want right from within Xcode. It integrates with the documentation. We're shipping a lot of great documentation as part of the SDK, and you can access it directly from within Xcode. And it has a really nice debugger. It does all the things you'd expect of a debugger. You can set breakpoints and step through functions and examine variables, but it goes beyond that. It's a great remote debugger. So you can take and plug your iPhone in with the standard 30-pin iPhone and iPod connector to your Mac, run your application live on your iPhone, and be debugging it right from your Mac. So this is incredibly powerful. So that's Xcode. It is a great tool. It is our development environment. It is where you will build and debug your applications. The next tool I'd like to talk about is Interface Builder. Interface Builder is the tool you use to build your user interface for your iPhone application. And in fact, Interface Builder makes building your user interface as simple as drag and drop. We have a complete library of all of the UI controls from Cocoa Touch built right into Interface Builder. And all you do is pick the ones you want and drag them across onto your canvas. And now you have visually built your interface. Interface then Builder goes beyond that. Cocoa Touch supports the model view controller paradigm of development. And right from within Interface Builder, you can visually tie and connect your view layer to your control layer. You can connect and you're recording any number of aspects about the performance of your application. You can look at, say, the graphics performance, or the CPU performance, or your file system usage, or your memory usage. See if you have leaks. All of these things. There's a whole host of different performance tools built right in. It records these live while you're running the application. In fact, it can record more than one aspect at once. So you can actually visually compare the interaction between different aspects of your program. You can then find your peaks and valleys, find where your hotspots are, dig right down into it, get right to the code that was running, optimize that code, run it again, run instruments to see if, in fact, you've optimized it as you expected. So instruments is a great tool to do real-time analysis, performance analysis of your application. Now, these three tools, Xcode, Interface Builder, and Instruments, we've had running on macOS 10. And we took and we enhanced each to support the iPhone. Now, today, tools in addition to this amazing set of frameworks that make up the iPhone OS. Let me go ahead and demo this to you now. So I'm sitting here at my Mac, and I'll first launch the iPhone simulator. Here it is. And as I said, we threw a few applications directly in from the iPhone. So I can launch, say, the Photos application. This is the same Photos application. So you can see, as I'm clicking here and swiping, it's actually sending it multi-touch swipe events. So it's getting exactly the same event as it would from the iPhone. And go back to home here. links. Go to links. You can even click up here and bring up the text fields. You could do searches. It's the full Safari built in. So that's the simulator. Let me show you now what it's like to build a new application using all of these tools. So I'm going to build the simplest application in the world, which is Hello World. So here is Xcode. I'll build a new project. I'm just going to choose the Cocoa Touch application. This is a completely empty application. And I will call it Hello World. All right. And now, actually, before I even write a single line of code, let me just click Build and Go. It's building up this application. It's packaging it together, loading it up in the simulator, running it, and connecting the debugger. Now, obviously, it's not a very interesting application since I haven't written anything. It's just drawing nothing, so it's black. But you can see Hello World has been added to the simulator. So let's make it a little more interesting and make it actually write Hello World. I have that code in the oven here. So I will copy it out of there, paste it into this file. And again, single click to build and go. It builds up with that change, links it together, loads it up in the simulator, and now you see Hello World in the simulator. It's that simple to make this turnaround time using the simulator to build your applications. Now, it turns out it's just as easy to build and run it live on an iPhone. So let me show you that. I have an iPhone right here, which is plugged in with a standard 30-pin connector into this Mac. It also has a video cable out, so you can see it. Touch system. So here I can either choose a photo or take a photo. I'll go ahead and choose a photo. This now will slide up the standard image picker panel. So this is all built-in APIs. I can choose an album. I can choose a photo. OK, so we have a photo. Now I'm going to take a single finger here and touch it down on the screen. And you can see now we're applying an OpenGL mesh distortion right onto this image. And you can see it's tracking my finger using the touch event system. So I'll put it right about there. This guy's not in the audience, is he? So that was with one finger, right? But of course, this is a multi-touch device. So now I'll take two fingers, and I'll just sort of pinch. And let's see what happens there. It just sort of sucks in between where I was pinching. So then we wanted to have some fun. We wanted to see, like, how could we undo the change? And of course, we have an accelerometer built in here. So to undo it, all I do is shake the phone. And it undoes it. So again, you can grab anywhere, do this multi-touch event, get different effects. His mother will be very proud. And shake to undo. So there's an application we wrote in 2 days, and it's under 2,000 lines of code to write that entire application. So next we decided, well, what can we do in 2 weeks? And so we went and wrote a game. It took us about 2 weeks. It's under 10,000 lines of code for this entire application. So again, a single click in here builds the application, loads it up, and runs it right here on my iPhone. It's actually connected in the debugger as well. So I'm just going to tap to start. As you can see, this is an OpenGL game for graphics. It's an OpenAL for audio. Now the question is, how do I fire at these ships? Because we're not using up a big chunk of the user interface here for buttons. We have a great touchscreen, so I can just tap anywhere to fire. But the next question is, well, I don't have a joystick on here or any 4-button toggle control. How do I steer? Well, we've got a full 3-axis accelerometer built in here, so all I need to do is move the phone around. And now I'm steering it. Love to do while they're building an application, especially games, is optimize. So I'll keep this running and go back to my Mac here, and I'll bring up Instruments. So as I said, Instruments is our performance tool. I'm going to measure the graphics performance. So I'll choose right here on the OpenGL ES template. I will choose the live running application, which is TouchFighter, and just click Record. Now, it is live recording the application as we're playing it. So it's live recording the frame rate. It's actually sampling the whole time, all the calls that are being made. So as I move it around, you can see we're getting around 30 frames per second. Go ahead and fire. So live, while you're running your application, while you're playing your game, you can be measuring all of the performance. So let me go back to my Mac here, and I'll stop that recording. Now, not only did it just record it, but it also it saved all of this. So if I want to go and look for where my peaks and valleys are, I can see, well, here we're at 19 frames per second. Clearly, we can optimize this and make it better. Well, I can bring up the stack trace right there on the right-hand side. You see, that's the stack trace of exactly what was happening at that point in the gameplay. I can use that to dive down, optimize the code, and make it even faster. So this is what we could do in 2 weeks in less than 10,000 lines of code to create this application. But I don't want you to just take my word for how good this platform is. So a few weeks ago, we called up a handful of companies, and we asked them if they would send out a couple engineers each to see what they could accomplish in 2 weeks on an SDK that they'd never seen before. In fact, most of them had never
Hi, everybody. So the first thing we wanted to say is thank you to Apple for inviting us to join in with this SDK process. And given that we only had 2 weeks, we wanted to do something that took advantage of a lot of the different features of the device. Everything from the touchscreen to the accelerometer. We wanted to have video and audio. We want to have a game that described all of that. So the game that we chose was a game that we have in production called Spore. And the idea of Spore is it's about taking a microorganism from the primordial soup at the bottom of the ocean and helping it evolve and grow and survive in this interesting world we have. So you can see the Spore here in the center of the screen, and the way that we chose to control the Spore was to use the iPhone's accelerometer. So you can see John using the accelerometer here to tilt it right and left and get some of that motion that you saw earlier in that previous demo. The basic goal of the game is to take the Spore and eat anything smaller than you and avoid anything larger than you. If you do a good job of that, you're rewarded by what we call the evolution editor. And the evolution editor is a great place for us to take advantage of a lot of the touchscreen capabilities of this device. So we've gone from sort of the accelerometer, and now we're playing with the touch. What's so great about this is it allows you to customize the game in two different ways. First, we're going to customize the gameplay a little bit. So John's going to go in here and using his finger, he's just going to go ahead and touch the offensive track. And he's going to add in a pair of formidable-looking mandibles here on the front of our Spore. So you see those appear on the front. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to play with a little bit of a creative personalization here. Now this part is more about making the Spore look cool and interesting, and has less to do with the gameplay. But he's going to go ahead and use his finger and just start moving stuff around. So I think he's going to move the eyes forward here, and he's just touching and moving these forward. So imagine, this is all we've done in about 2 weeks, but if we had a lot of time, you could imagine us stretching this Spore out and adding colors and really making this like almost like a play area for people to personalize their Spores. So let's go ahead and bring that Spore back into the game. Now I'll talk a little bit about development. You notice we're moving from level 15 to level 16. And when we first came in, we sat down and started working with the framework. It took us about 2 days to get Cocoa and that's Spore from Electronic Arts.
Thanks. Awesome. That was 2 weeks of work. I mean, I'm sure you've read a lot about Spore, and in 2 weeks, they got all of that up and running on the iPhone SDK. It's fantastic. Now, as you can see, clearly we have a great platform to build games on top of. It's also great for verticals. Salesforce.com is an innovator. They provide software as a service, and in fact, are the world leader in on-demand CRM services that are both customizable and extensible. I'd like to bring up Chuck Dietrich to talk you through their experiences with the SDK. Chuck.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Thank you. First, I want to thank Apple for inviting us, and I also want to say how excited we are to take software as a service to the iPhone. Salesforce.com applications to give them really detailed graphic pictures on where they're at against each of their key business metrics. And you can see we're using the swipe screen to navigate this. And if people know how to use the iPhone, they're going to know how to use our applications on the iPhone. And since the SDK allows us to store the data on the device, connectivity is not an issue. If they're on the plane, no problem. Let's walk you through another example, opportunities. These are the deals that a sales rep is trying to close. Now, you can see it's in the standard table view that iPhone users are used to. They get a high-level overview of each deal. Or Apex code to actually send more data down to the device when you're in wireless connectivity. In this example, 3 new leads just came in on the corporate website. He can get them on the iPhone. He can open those leads and start responding to them immediately. In this case, Bertha Boxer is a lead. And we can use the SDK to tap into the native functionality of the iPhone, like sending a phone call or an email, or even more compelling, maybe we want to map where Bertha is relative to where I'm at. Maybe I can stop by and visit her. So we can do this using the mapping functionality. It's very cool stuff. What's really amazing is we only had one developer, Jason over here, up here for less than 2 weeks. And he built all this. Now, we have over 70,000 developers developing on our Force.com platform. They are going to love building the next generation of mobile applications on the iPhone. Thank you very much. Thanks.
So again, one person in less than 2 weeks. It's absolutely amazing. The next one, AOL. AOL runs AIM, which is the most popular instant messaging service in the United States. And we, in fact, integrate with AIM on the macOS 10 desktop with iChat. I'd like to bring up Rizwan Sattar to talk you through their experience with the SDK. Rizwan. Thanks.
Hey, everyone. We are so excited to show you what we've been able to create in just 2 weeks with the iPhone SDK. And we're so happy to show you AIM for iPhone. When you start up this application, you're connected immediately to the AIM network. And the first thing you see is a list of all of your online buddies. And you can see their status messages and their buddy icons. And what's really remarkable about this is I never developed on the Mac before. Never written a single line of Objective-C. And we came here with absolutely no code for the device, just a spec sheet of how to talk to AIM. And we had a live buddy list up and running in about 5 days. And speaking of live, it looks like Mark's taking the day off. So let's start a conversation with him. So this is actually a live conversation happening over the AIM network. And we definitely had it was an exciting moment. The first time we were able to run AIM on the device and send a message to one of our buddies and get a response back. It was definitely one of those like, come here, Watson moments. So now, if you happen to use AIM a lot, you tend to have a lot of conversations going on at the same time. So we've developed AIM to make it very easy to switch between your active chats just by swiping. And in addition to getting the buddy list and chat functionality working, we actually had time to go and build a Me panel where we can update our status and let our friends know what's going on in our lives. And normally you do this. I love Spore. And normally you go in here and you set your state and you set your text-based status message. Well, we thought, wouldn't it be great if we could interact with the phone? And literally a dozen lines of code later, I can now tap on my buddy icon, bring up the image picker, choose a photo, and when I do, it gets uploaded to the AIM network, and now everyone who has me on their buddy list will see a new photo to represent me. We are so excited that we were able to do all this in just 2 weeks with the SDK. And we're really looking forward to working with Apple to bring AIM to the iPhone. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Again, it's amazing the progress we made. And a lot of this is because we have great networking APIs built in as part of the SDK. Next, Epocrates. Now, every doctor knows all about Epocrates. Epocrates creates products that are used by more than 500,000 healthcare professionals, including 1 in 4 physicians in the United States. I'd like to bring up Glenn Keithley to talk us through their experience with iPhone.
So Epocrates is a leading provider of handheld clinical reference applications for use by physicians at the point of care. And I've been a mobile developer for the last 8 years, developing applications for them. And I can tell you that developing software for the iPhone is like developing for no other mobile platform. The sensation is of developing for a much more powerful, stronger, almost desktop-like environment. And the main reason for this differentiation is the availability of the Cocoa Touch frameworks. So we were able to prototype our drug list view screen, seen here, in a matter of days. And then it was quite simple to hook it up to our existing C++ data access classes, and that allowed us to populate this list with 3,300 of the most commonly prescribed US drugs. Now, tapping on a drug takes you through to the drug monograph. A monograph is just an industry term meaning a white paper detailing information about a drug. And this is where we were really excited, because we were able to take advantage of some of the unique features of the iPhone, like the SQLite database to store our drug formulation information, and the enhanced screen resolution to show pill images on the device for the first time on any mobile platform. In addition to this, just adding other separate, simpler content sections, such as our adverse reactions, we're able to take advantage of the standard controls, the table view, and adding this screen literally took me an hour. So, in addition to this in our clinical content, we're also able to use the core animation-backed frameworks to reinvent and re-innovate some of our existing functionality, for example, Epocrates Multicheck. Now, Multicheck supports the case where a physician, a patient may be on multiple medications, and a physician wants to see, are taking those medications together going to result in any harmful adverse effects? So if we assume the patient is taking the medications selected here, we can tap on Add, and immediately it flies in the drug list. The physician can then enter the drug name that they want to add, tap on it, and the drug list goes away. And all that animation is handled for us by the SDK. We didn't have to write a single extra line of code to do that, but it does look cool. So, tapping on Check, you can then go through to the interaction results view, and you see a list of the interactions associated with these medications grouped by the severity of the interaction. If you'd like more detail, you can tap on an interaction pairing, and that brings you through to the interaction detail view. Finally, we were able to take advantage of the richness of the iPhone UI to prototype some brand new functionality in the form of our drug identifier functionality. Now, this supports the case where a patient may come into a doctor's office and say, hey, I'm taking this orange 3-sided pill I found, but I'm not sure what it is. And the doctor can enter those criteria into the
Sega has been a household gaming name for more than 25 years. And I'd like to bring up Ethan Einhorn to take you through what they accomplished. Ethan?
Thanks, Scott. So when Sega and Apple started talking about what games would be great to bring to the iPhone platform, Super Monkey Ball was a natural choice. When they told us that we'd only have 2 weeks to create a full 3D demo of the game, I thought that was impossible. But here it is, thankfully up and running, and it looks awesome. And we were able to do this because we were working with a terrific, flexible, and powerful SDK. So the object of Super Monkey Ball is to guide II the monkey through a series of mazes, collect you'll know exactly what to do when you pick up an iPhone. Now for me, I'm a hardcore gamer, so it was really tough for me to wrap my brain around the idea of not playing with analog sticks. But after 2 weeks with the iPhone, it's going to be very hard for me to go back and play this on a traditional game controller. Making. This is not a cell phone game. This is a full console game. And if anything, we underestimated what the machine was able to do graphically from the start. We had to actually fly in an extra artist to start scaling up the quality of the visuals to match what the output was capable of giving us. And that's the best kind of problem that you have to solve on the development side. Thanks, Scott.
So really, I mean, we've been working so hard to get this SDK full-featured. It has an advanced set of capabilities, and we wanted, proof from third parties, and they came in and blew us away and blew themselves away. I mean, 2 weeks with 2 or 1 developer in one case is amazing what you can create on this. Everything from games, and we think it's a fantastic platform for creating games, to verticals, to just wide commercial applications. Now the next question is, once you have all of these amazing applications, how do you get them on your phone? And to answer that, I'd like to turn it back over to Steve.
Thanks, Scott. So you're a developer, and you've just spent 2 weeks or maybe a little bit longer writing this amazing app. And what is your dream? Your dream is to get built a section into iTunes where you can peruse all the apps as well. And you can download them right to your computer, a PC or a Mac, and sideload them right into your iPhone as well. But we think most people are probably going to just use their iPhone and do it over the air right to the iPhone. So this is pretty cool. But it goes even further. If you've downloaded an app and the developer has updated that app, the App Store will automatically tell you that there is an update available. And if you're interested, you just tap on the App Store, it takes you to the Update section, shows you the app that's been updated. You can see exactly what's been updated. If you like it, tap the Update button, and your app will be replaced by the updated version again over the air, all automatically. So we think this is pretty cool. And the App Store is going to be the exclusive way to distribute iPhone applications directly to every iPhone user. Now, developers are going to ask, well, this is great, but what's the deal, right? What's the business deal? We think we've got a great business deal for our developers. First of all, the developer picks the price. Pick whatever price you want to sell your app at. When we sell the app through the App Store, the developer gets 70% of the revenues right off the top. We keep 30% to pay for running the App Store. There are no credit card fees for the developer. We take care of all that. There are no hosting fees for us hosting the app. We take care of all that. There's no marketing fees. The developer gets 70% of the revenues, and it's paid monthly. This is the best deal going to distribute applications to mobile platforms. Now, we talk about the 70-30 revenue split, but the developer gets to pick the price. And you know what price a lot of developers are going to pick? Free. The beta release is going to be in the hands of thousands of developers and hundreds of companies. We need the feedback. We need to work with enterprises and make sure that all of their configurations for Exchange work great. Of course, we want to continue working with developers and get all of their fantastic feedback. And we're going to ship this to every iPhone customer in June. And it's going to be a free software update. So that's how we're going to roll this out. In just a few months, every iPhone user is going to have everything you saw today right on their phone as a free software update. So we're very, very excited about this. Now, there's one other part to this as well. It's not just the iPhone. It's the iPod Touch. The same software release is going to run on the iPod Touch. So developers that develop games or other applications for the iPhone, they're going to run on the iPod Touch as well. And all the enterprise features are going to be available on the iPod Touch. Now, we account for the iPod Touch a little bit different than we account for the iPhone. So there will be a nominal charge for that update. But otherwise, it will be exactly the same as the iPhone. So this is our roadmap for the iPhone software. And we think a lot of people, after understanding where we're going, are going to want to become an iPhone developer. So how do you become an iPhone developer? It's really easy. You can go to our website, probably starting in about an hour, and download the SDK for free. You can run the simulator on your Mac and develop your app right on a Mac. In addition to that, you can join our iPhone developer program if you want to run the app on an iPhone or an iPod Touch. And if you join the developer program, again, you can test your code on an iPhone or an iPod Touch. We've got great technical support, and you can distribute your app to every iPhone and iPod Touch user, right? And to join the developer program costs just $99. So this is really aggressive. If you have any questions about anything, just give us a ping at developer.apple.com. You'll be able to go to the website within an hour and learn all about it. And we're very excited about our developer program for iPhone. So that is our software roadmap, and we hope you are as excited about it as we are. We think this is incredible. And so thank you very much for coming today. We do, though, have one last thing. The premier venture capital firm in the world is Kleiner Perkins, Caulfield & Byers. And it is my great pleasure to introduce to you the most well-known partner of Kleiner Perkins, John Doerr. John? Welcome.
Steve started Apple and the whole personal computer industry. And then along the way, Steve left. Apple went downhill fast. What's remarkable is this entrepreneur returned and resurrected Apple to greatness. And in his spare time, at the same time, he bought, built, and ran Pixar, literally defining the computer animated film industry. It's really pretty amazing. So on this special day, my friends, please join me in a salute for the world's greatest entrepreneur, Steve Jobs. Very proud to announce the iFund for the iPhone platform. New platforms are very rare, but they can be transformational if they're about great products with robust APIs, powerful distribution, outstanding entrepreneurs, and usually a little help from VCs. So we gave a lot of thought to what the size should be of this iFund. And you know, it took a couple $1 million to start Electronic Arts, $8 million to start Amazon, $24 million to start Google. So we decided the iFund should be $100 million. That should be enough to start about a dozen Amazons or even 4 Googles. And if we're running out of money, we'll look around to try and find some more. Now, you know the Mac and the iPod are truly amazing platforms. There's over 1 million developers on the Mac and over 5,000 independent products for the iPod. Today, we're witnessing history. That's the launching of the SDK, the creation of the third great platform, the iPhone and the iPod Touch. Think about it. What the iPhone's all about is in your pocket, you have something that's broadband and connected all the time. It's personal. It knows who you are and where you are. That's a big deal, a really big deal. It's bigger than the personal computer. So, it's about this great opportunity, but more than the money. It's really about the people. It's about the entrepreneurs. It's about the great team at Apple. And most of all, it's about the great talent that we can recruit together and to go build these amazing companies. This iFund is going to be led by my partner Matt Murphy, who's here today, together with Chi-Hwa Chen, Bill Joy, Randy Komisar, Ellen Pao, Ted Schlein, and me. We're all here today. And we're on the web at kpcb.com. I got to tell you, there's never been a better time than now to create a new company for a revolutionary new platform. And so my message to the entrepreneurs of the world is, if you want to invent the future, the iFund wants